We're going to talk with Keith Kizer. He is Executive Director of the Antique Motorcycle Club of America. He's never used the machine until today, so tell me a little bit about the machine and what you think about it.
Well, in my background, I'm like old school everybody else, where we used to sandblast stuff up in the backyard, and then we got bead blasting cabinets, and we thought that was, you know, the hot ticket. But realizing now that I'm involved not in racing but in the antique motorcycle industry, that people are damaging parts. And so to test this out, I have a CB350 Honda that was my mother's street bike when I was a kid. So I'm totally restoring this thing as a custom bike, but the engine's going to look brand new. So I saw vapor honing technology last year at this show as well and started talking to them. So now that I'm doing an article myself in our magazine, I wanted to come in and test this out this weekend. So I brought all of my engine pieces for them to use as samples during the weekend, and then I'll finish it up next week at their shop. But I'm amazed. I mean, I've heard before it's very time consuming, but I mean, the piece that I just stuck in there and put a cover in and shot it, I mean, it took 30 seconds to do that. So if you're shooting aluminum, it really doesn't take that long at all. So, but I'm looking at it from a restoration standpoint, that there's a lot of guys that will take anything from, you know, teens motorcycles on up and do total restorations. But this is going to help preserve and save our history for guys not destroying the parts as they're cleaning them up.
Now, how about just the process? How does it compare to just a regular bead blaster?
Really, it was no different, other than the bead blaster, you've got dust everywhere. And so it's no different. It's hard to see. You've got, you know, a vacuum that's pulling that out of there. But the nice thing here, when you open it up, you don't get all of that falling on the ground. That was all. You didn't keep anything nice around a dry blasting cabinet. So with this, the fact that it's all water-based, it's very easy to work with. And if you get to where you can't see, just squirt water on the inside shield, and you just keep going. So very convenient. I'm impressed with how small it is. So, you know, it's not going to take up much room in your shop to get there and use it. So I'm very happy to introduce this to our sport for the guys who haven't done it yet.
And so you're going to be doing an article in the magazine, correct?
Yes, I do. We have an Antique Motorcyclist magazine, the Antique Motorcycle, and then we have a newsletter that we put out. So every other month there's a newsletter or a magazine. So I'm doing an article on this Honda in the newsletter, and then when it's completely finished, then there'll be an article in the magazine.
Well, very good. And I know that the motorcycle that you're doing, I have a 350 as well. It was my grandfather's. It's a '69 CB350. So I'm restoring it as well. So I understand there's a little more connection than just a motorcycle.
That's right. So you're preserving your history, and you know, these swap meets exist because we're all living our childhoods again. We can't find the motorcycles that we grew up on or the motorcycle that we wanted, but you find what you were riding back then that's a same example, and you get it. I'm lucky enough to have gotten back one bike from each one of my parents had. So, you know, now I've got a DT 175 Yamaha to go do here in the future as well. So this is a nice tool to add.
So would you recommend this to other vintage guys that are out there restoring?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, this is something that's going to be good for our industry.